Are you ready? Stand by.
Hey everybody, I'm Dave Hartman and welcome to the Three Gun Show. This is episode 220 where we catch up with our buddy Nate Staskiewicz to find out what he's been up to this season since joining the Army Marksmanship Unit. This podcast is brought to you by IWI. I want to tell you about the IWI Tavor X95 in 9mm. I've been having so much fun with this rifle. This bolt, you still call it a rifle? It's probably a bullpup. I've been having so much fun with this firearm since I got it. I took my dad out to shoot it, and he really liked the X95 because it put all the weight back on the back of the gun where he was able to stabilize it with his shoulder. The Tavor X95 has a lot of features that you kind of miss when the first time you look at it. Like at first you think like, well, where are the Picatinny accessory rails? But those are under like little sliding covers that IWI has placed on the rifle. So you can run it with it. You can run it without it. Like I said, this one is in 9mm. So I actually took it out to shoot a PCC match, which was a lot of fun. PCC is just a completely different game. Shooting stuff up close is a lot of fun. And many people remarked like how quiet the X95 is, which is kind of funny because, you know, it's just the same 9mm everyone else is shooting. But with that long 17-inch barrel, it just seems pretty quiet. So a couple of extra Colt mags and you're good to go. So check it out. Tavor X95 in 9mm. Mine is flat dark earth, which automatically adds cool points. And I'm going to be shooting this thing in USPSA matches coming up here. IWI.US is where you can get your own. This podcast is brought to you by Breda USA, Italian shotguns that are the best in the world. And this is a shotgun tech tip from Team Breda. Hey, this is Dave Hartman from the Three Gun Show, and I've got Josh Tanner here with Team Breda, and we've got a shotgun tech tip for you. Josh, what do you got?
All right, today we're going to talk about point of aim, point of impact change on a shotgun when you run a lot of rounds down through the gun. So on a long shotgun stage where you've shot a lot of birdshot, the barrel will heat at a different rate than the ribs do, which can start to affect the point of aim, point of impact versus a cold gun. Now, I found that to be much less of an issue with these Breda shotguns, I think due to their barrel manufacturing process, but it's still important to go out and warm your shotgun up really, really hot, shoot a lot of rounds through it, and check and see what that point of aim, point of impact is different with a warm gun versus a cold gun.
All right, thanks, Josh. That's your shotgun tech tip from Breda Shotguns. Check out Breda's B12i 3-gun ready inertia-driven shotgun at BredaUSA.com. That's BREDA. Thank you for joining me here on the Three Gun Show, the world's largest three-gun podcast. This show is purpose-built for you to learn about practical shooting while you're on your commute, at the gym, even at work, on the range even, driving to a match, all the numerous places where you can listen to the podcast and not have your eyeballs obstructed by video screens. Just like the radio, only more awesome because you can get what you want on demand without any sort of gatekeepers. Every single Wednesday, there is a new episode waiting for you to download, listen to, and learn about practical shooting. So if you're into this kind of content, hit that subscribe button on your favorite podcast player. And if watching is your thing, you can also join us on YouTube, which is where you can find the video replay of the live interview we did here with Nate. We're Three Gun Show on there, on Instagram and Facebook as well, so follow us in all the places. Now on to this week's show. Nate Staskiewicz back on the program, as it were, and we're here to talk about how he got into the AMU, what the first few months of being in the Army was like, how that transition was work, and speaking of transitions, transitioning into limited division instead of his usual Tac-Ops, why they stuck him there, or why he chose to do that, and why the Army spreads their team out in different divisions as a whole. Plus, we talk about one of the little-known benefits of shooting for the Army Marksmanship Unit, and that is the support staff for the shooting teams, whether that's ammunition, gunsmiths. We talk about them all here, so enjoy this interview with Nate Staskiewicz. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Three Gun Show. I'm your host, Dave Hartman, and with me here today is Nate Staskiewicz. Nate, welcome back, man.
Thanks for having me, Dave. It's been
3 years, I think, since the last one we did. It's been a while.
Yeah, since the last one that we did solo for sure. Did
Yeah,
one in Omaha with your old crew, Lance and Jacob.
that's right. Yeah,
After the what is it? Eastern Nebraska Practical Shooters or something like that.
Eastern Nebraska Gun Club.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that's
After
the
we
local
did,
club we shot at down there.
yeah, we did the 3-gun match, and we had the highest flipped clay pigeon I have ever friggin' seen on a stage that you designed, which was absolutely incredible. It was so much fun.
Yeah, I remember that. That thing almost went into stratosphere. It was gone.
Yeah, it was incredible. It was the first time I saw it. You have like this perception in your head of what is going to happen when something occurs, and then it just went so like probably 3 times higher than I've ever seen a clay fly, and it was just like, okay, we got all kinds of time to do stuff in between. We can stuff 8 in the shotgun, move around a little bit, all kinds of time.
Yeah, I didn't mean to do that. It just when it got set up, something went wrong and it just flew.
So, something went right, man. That was
Or
perfect.
something went right, yeah. Whatever way you look at it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah. So it has been a while since we've chatted here. I think that was 2016. So you've been up to a lot lately, man. We've got a new profession for you. Changed states. Moved away from home, and been up to a lot here. So we're gonna cover it all. First off, you're with the Army Marksmanship unit.
Correct. Yeah.
Getting all settled and everything in there.
Yeah, I've been getting settled I've been here about 8 months. And it's been awesome since I've been here. It's the best job in the world. You couldn't ask for any more.
Awesome. So I want to talk about that because I feel like everyone I talk to has like a perception of the Army Marksmanship unit, and I don't know if it's any true or not, or if it's just like conjecture or what people think is going on. But I want to take it back to before December, before you started. Like, there's obviously some sort of selection process. Can you tell us about the selection process and what it was like for you, what your experience was like?
So I think it was 2016. I came to Fort Benning for the junior camp, like the USPSA 3-gun AMU June camp thing.
Uh-huh.
And on the first day, like the first station we went to, like we made ready, just about to shoot, and Joel Turner, who shoots open for us, came out and was like, "Hey, put your guns away and meet us in the office." So I did that.
Like, dang, I got DQ'd already.
Yeah. I was like, uh-oh. And then so Daniel Horner was standing there with like a packet in his hand. I was like, "So are you interested in joining the AMU?" I was like, "Yeah." So he's like, "Okay, cool. Fill this packet out." And it was just like a questionnaire, probably like 4 or 5 pages long, a bunch of questions on there. And he's like, "You get 10 minutes to fill this thing out," which is impossible. So I was like scribbling along, and then I think it ended up taking me like 30 to 40 minutes or something. But so yeah, I filled out the questionnaire. We shot the rest of the day. The next day, I did some PT in the morning, and then we did an interview after that later that afternoon, and then we shot like the whole camp did like a little practice match type thing. And then after that, they offered me the job that day after the camp concluded.
Oh, no kidding.
So
Wow.
yeah, that was my selection process. But
Is it different for everyone, or is that like typical of what the selection process is like?
Yeah, so I don't think we're doing the junior camp anymore. So now if you want to get selected, you can just look on our website and there's an email address. You'll just send your resume to the email address. And then there's like certain criteria that you have to meet, and then your match placements and stuff like that. And then someone will get back to you and schedule a tryout date if you meet the criteria.
So match placement, that's an interesting part of it. So one of the so I like to look at the AMU social media, and one of the comments on there all the time is oh, I could do that if I had all the ammo to use. And then you go and look into that dude's profile and stuff, and it's like well, that guy's like 55 years old, and he's got no practice score history whatsoever. It's like, I don't think you'd make it, buddy. So how did they base your match finishes? Did they go back like the last few years, or is it just that you knew the AMU dudes from shooting with them on squads over the years?
Yeah, so I've known them for probably 3 years prior.
Oh man, they turned off Nate's internet. Nate didn't
I think
pay
your
his bill.
screen froze.
Ah, there you go. You're back.
Yeah, your screen. Okay, you got it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, you totally froze up.
You did too. I was sitting here talking to the audience, but so back up. You knew those guys for a few years.
Yep,
That's
so
where
I
we
knew him
lost
for
you.
a few years, and I shot with Joel Turner at the War Sport team 3-gun match
Yeah.
a couple years prior. I don't know like what they looked at my scores wise because I wasn't involved in that process, but I assume they look at the past couple years scores wise and see how I percentage wise how I stacked up.
Mm-hmm. So then, what was the time period between when that happened and actually like going off to the Army? Was there a bunch of months in between that you had to prepare? Were you anxious? Were you nervous?
Yeah, yeah. So I tried out in November, I think, and then I went to MEPS. I think a few weeks later, and then the following August, I left for basic. So August of 2017.
Got it. So you had like
Probably about 9 months or so.
yeah, so 9 months to figure it out. So what'd you do in that 9 months?
I did some PT, a lot of PT, just getting ready for basic training, and then just continue shooting, trying to get better. So when I got to the AMU, I wasn't terrible for not shooting for a while.
Gotcha. So no coasting. It was all preparation for it.
Yep, I was working up until a couple days before I left. I continued shooting because when you're basic, you don't really shoot that much. So I knew I would have like a 3-month gap where I wouldn't really hardly shoot at all. So I wanted to keep my skills up and make sure I was proficient when I got to the AMU.
Right. So when August rolls around, what was that process like? Leave home, take a flight to Georgia, I'm assuming.
Yep, to the Atlanta airport, and then they bus you. A drill sergeant's there waiting for you, and there's like a few bus loads of us that were bused to 30th AG, and that's just like the in-processing station. I think I was there for 10 days, and just a lot of just standing around, doing medical, random stuff like that. Like literally standing for like 8 to 10 hours.
Really?
Per day. Yeah, it was terrible. It's probably the worst thing. And then, so then after that, you get like assigned company. I was in Alpha 219, and then you just ship out and start your 14-week, I think it was, basic training.
Mm-hmm. And what do you do in basic?
You do a lot of things. You PT every morning. We did combatives, shooting, tactics, ruck marching, the gas chamber. We did a lot of things. Every day was something different, and you're learning a lot of stuff.
Nice. What was your favorite part of it?
I think my favorite part was just like being around like all the other trainees, and it was like a lot of fun. You made a lot of good friends, and we just had a lot of fun in basic.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was a lot of people made it out to be like some super tough, and like sometimes it was challenging, but I had a lot of fun doing it.
Good. What was the biggest challenge for you?
Probably the toughest thing was so like the last week before you start out processing, you do something called an FTX, a field training exercise.
Mm-hmm.
So we walked 12 miles in, and then we did like a couple missions or whatever, and then that night we walked another 17 miles. So we started at sundown and we didn't finish till sun up. So we ended up walking like 32 miles that day, 40 hours without sleep, which I was not used to.
Oh man.
But it wasn't too bad. Ended up being a lot of fun.
Right. So what's the sleep deprivation like? You said you weren't used to it, but how does that affect like what you're doing? Did you then have any sort of like task to accomplish that you were trying to
Yeah,
do
so
all sleep deprived and
after we got
everything?
back to that ruck march at like 8 in the morning or whatever, we had to build this patrol base. So we'd like build bunkers and everything like that, build guard shacks and stuff like that. So we got done. We were hoping we would take like a nap or something. That didn't happen. We were working until 9 that night or whatever. But like a normal day, you'll go to bed at 9 or 10 or whatever, and then you'll wake up at 3, 4, 5 in the morning, something like that. So you'll get 7, 8 hours of sleep.
Gotcha. So once you're out of basic, then what happens? Do they ship you off to the AMU and you start your day to day there, or is there anything in between?
Yeah, so I actually graduated basic, I think a Wednesday or Thursday, and the whole action shooting team was there to watch me graduate. And then right from there, Joel picked me up and brought me here to headquarters and start my in-processing here at the AMU headquarters that day.
Oh, wow. No rest, huh?
Nope, no rest.
So then what have you been doing since you started? What's like a day in the life now? What do you do on a daily basis?
Yeah, so normal day, we'll get to work at 8 a.m., do like a little bit of PT in the morning. And then the mornings generally is when we do our administrative stuff, like on the computer. If we have travel vouchers we need to do, orders we need to make, stuff like that. Do some range maintenance if we need to clean up the range or pick up brass or whatever. And then from there on, once we do all that stuff, we get to focus on shooting. So after that, once you get your task done, you can shoot as much as you want.
Oh, really? So no limit to how much you can shoot?
Not really.
do you have, so is it now like that situation where you want ice cream for dinner and you can just eat ice cream and ice cream and ice cream and just never ever get tired of it, or are you you ever get sick of it and you're like, let's do something else?
No, there's always something. So I try to record all my videos at matches, and there's always something I want to practice. I have like a list of stuff I want to do or stuff I did the previous day that I want to get better on. So there's always something I'm striving to do and striving to get better, just to be the best shooter I can.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you still get to use your own gear, or they're like, okay, now you're going to be using this stuff over here? What's the ammo like? I mean, how is all that stuff different from what you're used to in your normal training regimen?
Yeah, so I'm shooting the exact same guns I shot before I got in the Army. The only difference is the pistol is we're shooting 38 Super Comp here instead of 9mm. But besides that, they're the exact same guns. But if I want, so like this last match, I shot Task Force Dagger.
Yeah.
And so I had to shoot heavy because they didn't have a limited division. So I just went down to the arms room and got a 308 rifle, single stack pistol, and pump shotgun, which is great because we have a ton of guns down there that you can pick and choose from to shoot if you wanted to.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It sounds like a dream. You want to shoot a different division? Just go get something.
Pretty much, yeah.
And so you said that you've been shooting limited. When did that switch come around? Because as long as I've known you, you've been a Tac-Op shooter. Is that right? Have you ever shot limited?
Right. I have. This is actually the first time I shot anything besides Tac-Optics. So when I got to the team, Daniel Horner is shooting Tac-Optics, and obviously I'm not going to replace him because he's a beast. And then Joel Turner is shooting open, and I'm not going to shoot open because he's been shooting that for the past year or whatever. So then we try to spread out and win as many divisions as possible. So the natural fit was just to put me in limited. It's pretty similar to Tac-Ops, except the same gear, except just the scope's different.
Yeah.
So that's about it.
Yeah. So you feel at home, no big deal.
Pretty much, yeah. It was kind of weird because you don't have hash marks, holdovers, or anything. You just kind of got to learn.
It's hard to see the targets.
Floating a dot in the middle of space, hoping to hit. But going back to a scope, I shot a scope at Task Force Dagger for heavy. It was really weird because in limited, like the dot doesn't hardly move because it's 1 power. But I put that 6 power scope on there and it never stopped moving. I was like, oh my goodness, this is I forgot all about this.
Yeah, it is something different. Like I've been shooting limited for like I think the last 3 months, and I've got a match coming up this weekend where I'm gonna be shooting limited. And to be honest, I got kind of caught with my pants down. The reason I did it is I figured we would only shoot out to like 200 yards. I'm like, that's chip shot with limited, and then I get the matchbook, and it's like, oh yeah, farthest target's gonna be 360, and I thought, oh dang, now now I got to go see how that works. And so yeah, I was doing the same thing. Like you got the target, and then the dot's just kind of like hovering out here in Nowheresville, and figuring it out. But it is exactly the way you described, where like for some reason this dot seems really stable over that target, where I can't get my hash on my 1 to 6 to settle down on it. So it's kind of funny how that works.
Yeah, it's a lot different for
Do
sure.
you find any sort of benefit when you're going back to the scope?
I think so, because in limited you only have a 1 power dot, so you got to make sure your position's good and you have good fundamentals, because you don't have much room for error, because you can't see exactly where on the target you are, and a lot of times the dot covers up the target. So you have to have really good fundamentals and good position and stuff like that. Sight picture. I think that really benefits. I mean, we'll see. When I went back to the scope, I shot pretty well, but when I go back to Tac-Optics eventually, I guess we'll see how much improvement I made, if any.
Right. Well, you've had the benefit of training with quite a lot of great shooters over the years. How does like your new crew with Joel and Tyler and Daniel differ from training with Jacob and Lance when you were back in Omaha?
It's about the same, but I mean, a lot more ammo here, obviously, and a lot more time to train, because we pretty much show up to work every day and get to train. But it's about the same, just bouncing ideas off each other, and especially at matches, like it's like a big thing where I think it helps a lot having other people with you, because like the 4 of us will go, or the 3 of us, and like the day before we'll all walk through individually each stage for like 5 minutes, and once we all think we find the plan that we want to use, we'll kind of walk each other through the plan and go through the pros and cons, and kind of decide what we want to do. For me and Dan, normally the stages are pretty much the same because we're shooting the same gear. For Joel, sometimes it varies like a lot, because he's shooting like a 25 round drum or something like that, and we only have 9 rounds in our tube.
Right. I'm just gonna shoot everything in shotgun here.
Oh yeah, like at 3 Gun Nation, the first one we went to, all the targets are optional. So he shot like 1-shot slugs on the paper, and he shot like shotgun most of the stages. We ran out of shotgun shells. He shot shotgun most of the stages, like all shotgun.
That's totally what I would do too with an open shotgun, when you just got to have a new box to shove in there, and now you've got 25 extra rounds. Why not?
Oh yeah, you can't keep up with that. It's impossible.
Right. But your plan obviously completely different than Joel's, very similar to Dan's. So yep. Do you find any sort of like differences between the personalities that you used to shoot with versus shooting with now?
I mean, not really. They're pretty much the same, like-minded people. They're pretty much the same personalities. I mean, yeah.
And so when you're training, like, how do you guys structure your training? Are you training by yourself? Do you guys train as a team? Is there, someone there with you critiquing your technique and everything, or is it all just something you have to figure out yourself?
Yeah, so we have, in addition to us 4, we have John Browning and Jacob Hetherington, which are just pistol shooters that shoot USPSA. So if we want to work heavy on like pistol shooting, we'll go work with them and shoot some stages with them, and then we'll kind of critique each other, watch what everyone's doing, and see if you can help them out at all. But then if we have like a big match coming up, we'll kind of like look and see what to expect from that match, like nationals. You can expect tight walls, no shoots, stuff like that. So we'll kind of set up stages that'll mimic what we think nationals will look like. And then if we have like the stage printouts from like a week or 2 prior they release the printouts, we'll try to set up those stages as closely as we can, just so we have some experience kind of shooting that stage beforehand.
Right. Do you ever like do that and then get to the match and think like, wow, we were way off?
A few times, yeah. But there's a few times where like, yeah, we were really close. This is awesome. We shot this like 15 times already.
Nice. And so what that obviously gives you a lot more confidence going into a match. So how long out do you start that process?
Really all depends. Probably like for nationals, probably 3, because we had a big gap between nationals, so probably a month, 3 weeks to a month beforehand, because that's our one big match of the year that we send 4 shooters to instead of 3. So yeah, that's the one we hit really hard is nationals.
And is that because it is a national title? And we're talking USPSA nationals, right?
Yeah, USPSA nationals. Yep. Yeah, we're just kind of go for the national title for the AMU.
Right. Okay. Now, what's your next match coming up?
So we have the Wyoming Governor's 3-gun match, and then we're flying from there straight to Rocky Mountain, and then from Rocky Mountain straight to the Pro-Am in Kentucky. So we're gonna have a long 3 weeks on the road in August.
You're flying from Cheyenne, Wyoming to Raton, New Mexico?
I think, or maybe we're driving. I'm not exactly sure. I'm not the logistics coordinator.
Let me help you out with that one. That's like a 3-hour drive.
Oh, we probably drive. Yeah, I don't know.
You'd have to like drive past Denver, where the airport is, and then go to Raton. So that's about 3 hours.
Yeah, we're probably driving then.
Okay, so Wyoming Governor's match is the next match you're shooting, and then directly after that is the Rocky Mountain 3-gun. I'll be shooting both of those too, by the way. How are you practicing for the Wyoming Governor's match? Like, what's your next few weeks going to look like?
So I haven't looked specifically. I haven't shot that match before, so I'm going to start watching YouTube videos of the previous. I think last year is the first one they did.
Yep.
Start watching the videos and seeing kind of like what tendencies they have in the stages. And then we're also preparing for Rocky Mountain too. So I know for that, we're going to be working a lot of positional rifle stuff because there's a lot of long range there. And then also some slugs and loading the shotgun, because I know traditionally they have long, super long jungle run. We're just ammo everywhere. And then also shooting some flying clays. Going to try to go to the skeet team and shoot some flying clays with them, just so we have some experience before. Because I know there's a lot of flying clays there, at least the last time I shot it.
Yeah, I can't remember what last time I was there. I want to say it was 2016 maybe, but I was watching you guys shoot. I want to say like you and Lance and Jacob were with the AMU on a squad or something like that. But
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so I was watching an all shotgun stage you guys were shooting, and I was super surprised how many flying clays there were, and not the typical toasters that just come up and down like we started the show with, but they've got launchers and throwers, and they're being thrown every which way, and it was interesting to see those mixed in with traditional practical targets, but just so many of them.
Yeah, they're a legit like trap thrower things. I think they also had a rabbit in there too.
Yeah, that's right.
That went skip along the ground. I think so, yeah. But they're not the typical just popper thing that throws it straight up.
Right. So when you go train with the ski team to prepare yourself for Rocky Mountain, are they like guiding you through the process, or are you just being able to shoot with them? Did they do the same thing? Like when you train with the pistol team, they give you feedback on it?
I haven't done it yet. We're hoping to do it later this week or next week. But I'm assuming, yeah, I'll probably ask for them for some advice, because I haven't really done much skeet shooting at all. So
right.
I'll definitely try to tap their brain and knowledge and see what they have to say.
Are they going to make you use double or over under, or you can be able to use your 3-gun shotgun when you do that?
I'll probably bring my 3-gun shotgun just to keep it consistent what I'll be shooting in the match.
Right. Now, do they ever come down to your guys' range and train with you?
They haven't yet since I've been on the team. No.
Got it. They pretty much stick to flying clays.
Yeah, because their stuff doesn't really translate into what we do. So unless they wanted to learn some pistol or rifle stuff, but like it doesn't really translate into our stuff. Like our stuff translate into their stuff with some flying clays.
Mm-hmm. Now, sticking on the topic of training up for Wyoming Governor's Match and Rocky Mountain 3-gun, do you have like a training plan for the next few weeks that you know you're going to follow, or do you guys decide on the day of like what you're going to go out to the range and do?
Yeah, not we don't have like a set plan really. We just show up and be like, oh yeah, do you want to do some long range positional work, or do you want to do some accuracy stuff or whatever? So we kind of just set it that morning. We don't have like a written stage or like a practice plan or anything like that we have to abide by.
Mm-hmm. Now who?
And
if you
all what?
Go ahead.
It's just like we'll just be like if anyone wants to work on anything. Like if they have anything that from the last match or from previous practice sessions that they want to work on, we'll just kind of ask each other if you want to do that or whatever, and then we'll just focus on that stuff. If anyone has any stuff that they really want to do, then we'll just do that too.
Gotcha. Now, do you just kind of follow along, or do you have like, okay, well, I need these 4 things here? Like, how does that hierarchy work? Because obviously you're the new guy. Do they kind of guide you through the process, or do you have like a set of like, these are the things I need to work on?
Well, yeah, so we're just like a team. It's not like, I mean, it is like rank structure, but on our, like, it's not really, we kind of like bounce stuff off each other, and it's not like I am, but I'm not like the bottom of the totem pole. If you get what I mean, it's like,
yeah, I do.
But if I have something, then
they treat you as an
like
equal.
they're not like, oh, you're a private, I'm not going to listen to you or something like that.
Well, they're a lot nicer than Jacob was then, huh?
What's that?
They're a lot nicer to you than Jacob was then, huh?
Yeah, no,
I'm
not
totally kidding. Totally kidding.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is let's talk about like the big picture. So you're in the AMU now. You've been in the AMU for like 9 months. What is the or I guess 8 months, but what is the like overall arching structure of like a career with the Army in the AMU? Do you have like a set goal of where you want to be or things you want to accomplish when you're in the AMU?
So my goals in the AMU are just to, keep winning and representing the Army. And yeah, so one of my goals is to win a national USPSA nationals in every division. So I already got limited. I want to try to win TAC Open and Heavy eventually. So we'll see how that pans out. But that's just a lofty goal I have.
Do you have to wait for the current guys to retire before you can go shoot those other divisions, or are you going to be, shooting against your teammates?
Shoot like against each other at nationals. So we'll always try to spread out divisions. So it might take a while to be able to do that, but hopefully eventually I'll be able to.
I got you. So that's a good long-term goal then.
Yeah.
Very cool, man. Well, so the USPSA Nationals in Vegas, it's again, it is pretty much the only national title for 3-gun. Like every match calls itself a championship, but when it's the only match of that kind, can it really be a championship? I always wonder that.
Yeah, that's like our big like national championship that we consider every year.
Mm-hmm. Now there was a lot of talk of the AMU going and shooting internationally in some of the IPSC World Shotgun Championships and Rifle Championships. Is that something that's on the horizon for you guys, or are you pretty much sticking to the U.S.?
Yeah, hopefully. So we were following the IPSC World Shoot, and I shot it in Italy 3 years ago.
That's right. That's right.
So hopefully we can get out to it next year or in 3 years, wherever it is. Mm-hmm. But that's definitely something that we want to look into and pursue doing in the next few years, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet to have the AMU do it. I wonder how that would work. So, would you be able to wear like the USPSA American flag jerseys, or would they make you go out and what you're wearing now?
I have no idea. That's above my pay grade.
I'll figure this out for you. I'll make some recommendations.
Yeah, I'm assuming we'd be able to wear the team USA team jersey, but I'm not exactly sure.
Huh. All right. Well, we'll figure that out. We got 2 years to figure that one out.
Yeah, we got a couple years to figure that out.
All right. So you're shooting limited. You're training every day. What's like some short-term goals that you have for yourself? Maybe something that you want to accomplish this year.
This year I just want to keep. I've been shooting pretty good this year. Just keep up with that and just always improving, always finding something to get better at, and yeah, just always improving, always striving to get better at shooting and get better at some of my weaknesses.
Mm-hmm. Now, traditionally, you've done a lot of dry fire and conversations that we've had in the past. You've told me about pretty much walking around the house loading the shotgun nonstop. But is that something that you've continued to do, or is that like taking a back seat now that you have the time and the ammo to do it?
Yeah, it's pretty much taking a back seat because I have a ton of ammo that I have access to. But I still will dry fire, like the basics, like draws, side alignment, trigger pull, loading the shotgun, like port arm starts with the shotgun and rifle and stuff like that. And so I'll still do some of that stuff, but majority of my training is live fire on the range.
Mm-hmm. Do you miss the old days of shooting in Omaha, or are you exactly where you need to be and happy to be there?
I do miss being back in Omaha, but this is like the best job in the world. So, yeah, I'm glad to be here and have the opportunity to do this.
Gotcha. Well, so I follow the AMU on social media, and they show a lot of the demonstrations and things like that you guys do. So, how often do those demos happen, and what is like the context for a demo? Is this for other people in the Army? Is this for like civilians?
Yeah, so I think I know the demo you're talking about was last week, and it was for the USAREC Command Sergeant Major, so the recruiting command over, or the Sergeant Major over the recruiting. And what we'll just do is showcase some of our skills and what we can bring to the Army in teaching wise, and what the Army should, like, what skills that we want to translate to people in the Army.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll just kind of show off in front of people, pretty much shoot really fast, stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, that usually gets people's attention when you shoot really fast. So then, as far as like translating those skills to other people in the Army, how do you do that?
Yeah, so we have an instructor training group who their sole job is to go around to units in the Army and train them and just make them more proficient and more lethal on the battlefield with their firearms.
I gotcha. And do you ever take a part of that, or is that something you're going to be doing in the future?
I know some of the guys on our team have done it. I haven't done any training yet, but probably in the future do it a little more.
Got it. All right. So it's basically wake up, clean up the range, go to train.
Pretty much. Yep. You can't complain, really.
Yeah, no kidding. Also, you're surrounded by a good team. You guys, you're working together as a team, as a cohesive unit. What's like the best piece of advice you've received so far in just the last few months you've been in the unit?
Best piece of advice I received, just always strive to get better. I mean, you have unlimited resources here. Don't get lazy. Always be working to get better. There's always something you can be doing to improve either yourself or your shooting skills. So don't get lazy, essentially. Just take advantage of what you have here, the people you have here, because we have a huge wealth of knowledge here at the AMU. Not just within our team, but within the whole entire unit, like shotgun, gunsmiths. If we have ammo questions, we have ammo loaders. So just take advantage of that.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about that then. Outside of the shooting team, the guys we've been talking about, who's someone that you've met that has provided a lot of knowledge and value to you in some of those other disciplines?
Yeah, so definitely our gunsmiths have, like, when I got to the AMU, I just figured, I just have all the ammo in the world in training. But how handy it is to be able to drive 10 minutes down the road. I actually just got a text from the gunsmith saying my shotgun's ready. But but yeah, being able to go down there, like, I wore out a sear on my 2011 pistol. Normally, I'd have sent it off, then work on it for like a day or two or whatever, and then send it back. So I wouldn't have my gun for a week. But now it's like drive 10 minutes down the road to work on that for like 20 minutes, and I'm good to go. I can continue shooting. So that's one of the big things that I didn't really think about before I got to the unit, that now that I'm here is like a huge thing that really helps us out. I mean, we're always down there bugging them with questions about our guns and seeing if they can tweak our stuff a little bit. And there's a huge asset that really helps us succeed.
Well, that's pretty cool. So that's like something a lot of people don't think about is the support structure that you have surrounding you.
Absolutely.
So you get to tweak all your gear. You said your shotgun's just done. Like what kind of tweaks and what kind of things are you working on? Do you ever do like any experimental stuff, or is it all just maintenance?
Yeah, so I had them put a rear sight and front sight on my shotgun, just because I know I have Rocky Mountain and the Governor's Cup or the Governor's match coming up. And it's slug heavy, and I'm just gonna try it out and see if I like shooting slugs better with pistol style sights on the shotgun. Seeing if it'll make me more accurate and faster. But it's kind of more experimental. Like if I don't like it, I'll just take them off and put the regular sight back on. But they're always open to.
Froze again. We're having internet issues this morning, apparently.
Hello,
Nate. Yeah,
I think froze up.
Yeah, we froze again. So Nate, you were talking about the experimental part of having a gunsmith nearby. So you smiled real big and you were just about to get into something funny there.
Oh yeah. So I was saying I just had them put a rear sight and front sight on my shotgun for Rocky Mountain and the Governor's Cup coming up. Hopefully I'll see if it'll make me more accurate and faster shooting slugs. And then I think I also had them put a regular front sight in front of the pistol front sight. So I'm hoping I'll maybe be able to shoot it like I have been now with just like a big front sight on there, and then just be able to pop that thing off and shoot before the stage and shoot pistol sights with slugs if it's like a slug heavy stage or if there's far slugs. So I don't know how it's going to work yet. I'll have to pick it up, but we'll see. Hopefully it'll work out.
Yeah. So it's cool to have that resource right next to you, right? Where you're like, hey, I think I want to try this, instead of, like you said, sending your shotgun off to have something dovetailed in there or waiting for parts to come in. They can just do that on hand. That's pretty cool.
Yes, it's awesome. It's great.
And so what's on the topic of parts, like what's parts availability like? Do they have like a massive inventory there, or is it something that they've got to Amazon overnight it, or what?
Yeah, so we have just like a big room, full of parts. And like anything you need to check out, magazines or stocks or anything you really need to check out, you can just go and check it out. You pretty much have all the parts you could want or need for guns.
Do you find that difficult, like tempting? Like I just want to go try everything out and see how it all works?
Not really, because I like to keep my gun simple, and so I've been shooting the same guns for like 3 or 4 years now. So once I get something I like, I generally try to stick with it, unless there's something like new that comes out that's like a game changer or whatever. But I just try to keep my guns the same and keep the same familiarity that I've had with them for the past 3 or 4 years.
Right. It's funny you mentioned that the game changers. You even did air quotes on that. They seem like a game changer for a few months, and then everyone's back to doing what
disappear.
Right. It's happened like quite a few times in the last few years that I've been paying attention. It's kind of funny how that works.
Yeah, I normally just sit back and watch that stuff, and generally disappears. But there's some stuff that looks interesting, and we'll try to see if we can get 1 or 2 of them and try it out.
Yeah. So do you get the opportunity to test a lot of gear, or is it just once in a while kind of thing?
I haven't really tested anything since I've been here, I don't think. But if we wanted to, we could probably order some stuff. Like if something new came out, we could order some stuff and try it out and see if it really made us better.
Right. Okay. now going back to the armory that you were talking about, when you go and want to check out something, you're shooting a different division or anything, is there anything in the armory that you think is like super unique, like this is the coolest thing I've ever seen, I can't believe it's hiding here in these cabinets and doesn't get to see the light of day?
Not that I mean, we have like Perazzi, like super expensive, like $12,000 shotguns, and probably more than that. I don't even know what they cost.
Yeah.
But not that I've seen so far. We just have like a lot of competition guns, like a cabinet full of 2011s, and like a cabinet full of ARs and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they're just competition, like really good competition guns.
Yeah. Do you ever want to try them out? Like each one of them, take them out, like a whole stack of 2011s, and see which one you like better?
It's like a box full of them.
Just like a
I just
potato sack full of 2011s.
maybe eventually, but I don't know. I checked out a 1911 for that, shooting 45 for that Task Force Dagger, and that was a lot of fun. You go into single stack 1911 45 major. I might try to do that in the off season, because I think it was a lot of fun and recoil control, and you got to have like good fundamentals to do that because there's a lot more recoil with that single stack 45. But that's probably the only thing that I really want to check out in the future is that 45 again and do some training with that.
Got it. So you liked shooting heavy, huh?
It was fun. I didn't have enough room on my body for all the stuff because you have like 14 single stack mags and a bunch of rifle mags and shotgun, and yeah, it's a lot of gear.
Yeah. So that is totally insane when you think about it. Like the my opinion is like our technology has progressed. Like let's just have double stack 2011 45s and go that route, because like you said, you got to carry 14 magazines. Because
it wasn't 14. I was exaggerating a little bit, but I'd put like 6 on my body.
Right. So what is the capacity limit in heavy? Or
I think it was 10 rounds. I want to say 10 rounds.
Okay, 10 rounds. So
yeah.
I guess I don't need, if we're using the metric system, I don't need that. So if you're going to shoot heavy at, like, say, Rocky Mountain, they typically have like an all pistol stage, don't they? That's like a ton of rounds.
I think so, yeah.
Do you remember like last year what the all pistol stage, what the round count was?
I wasn't there last year, but I shot it the year before, and it was like, I want to say like 65 rounds or something, like 60 rounds.
Yeah. So if you've got
like a little ravine, dried up riverbed type thing, it was like 200 yards long, just targets everywhere, like up in the mountains and hidden behind bushes and everything. But I want to say it was like 60 rounds or something like that.
Yeah. So if you've got like a 60 round stage, I mean, some people miss. I've heard of it. You've got to bring like 10 magazines with you. Like that's a lot of of pouches, a lot of space, a lot of magazines. I don't understand why they just don't, allow double stack 2011 style 45s. But when you talk about body space, especially when you're throwing in, rifle magazines, that sometimes the limits are, 15, 20 rounds, whatever it is. Yeah. Heavy's its own animal, man.
Yeah. I'm only a size 32 waist, so I didn't have much real estate to deal with.
Yeah.
There.
But you're real tall. You need to go vertical. Just do like layers, like layer a belt on a belt on a belt and just stack them up high.
I'll have to have the gunsmiths get on that and figure something out.
Yeah, suspenders. There you go.
There you go.
It's the wave of the future. That's the new thing everyone's going to be buying is 3-gun suspenders.
With little Molly worked in there somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Everything's got to have Molly attachments, right?
There you go.
All right, Nate. Well, this has been great catching up with you, man. I'm pumped for your new career. I'm excited that you've got all this time to train and that you're taking advantage of it. Couple last questions. I'm pretty sure I asked you these the first time you were on the show, and for everybody listening, I'll put a link in the show notes so you can go see what Nate's question or answers to these questions were the first time he was on the show. But let's talk about the future of 3-gun. Where do you see the sport of 3-gun headed?
That's a good question. I hope it keeps expanding and a lot more people keep getting into it, because it's been growing a lot the past couple of years. I hope it just continues that way. A lot more people at matches, and yeah, I hope I hope it continues because it's a lot of fun and it's my favorite sport to shoot. So,
well, when you
prosper,
I totally agree, by the way. But when you talk about the growth of three gun, there's definitely a lot more matches out there. Like we saw the return of Task Force Dagger, and there's the Wyoming Governor Cup is in its second year, and then you've got old standards like pillar matches like Rocky Mountain three gun. When you look around, do you see more shooters at these matches as well?
I see a lot of new faces at every match. But I feel like since there's a lot more matches now, there's not as many people at each match as what it seems like. But I see a lot of new faces at every match, which is really good. That means new people are getting into it and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's cool to see all the new people, and hopefully they stick around and play with us for years to come because it's a ton of fun.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, Nate, this again, this has been a great time, man. Let's leave the audience with one thought or one piece of advice. What's something that you can give the audience as far as a piece of advice before we go here?
Probably just always practice what you're not good at. It's not very fun. It can get really frustrating, like being terrible at something, and then like just continue working on it. But that's probably the best piece of advice I have. Don't just do what you're good at. It can be fun, but you're not going to be as good at in the long run if you just always practice what you're good at. Just branch out a little bit and do what you're not so good at, and just always try to improve is what I try to do.
Nice. Yeah, I like practicing things I'm good at. It makes me feel better.
I do too. It's a lot of fun. I think everyone does. But
yeah, it's human nature, right?
Yeah, if you want to improve, you really got to practice what you're not good at and be honest with yourself too, what you need to work on.
Mm-hmm. Well, so your short career in the Army here, been 8 months. Have you seen an improvement in your game?
Absolutely, yeah. I've seen pretty much every aspect of my game. I feel has gotten better, whether it be like the mental game or like every gun, being able to bounce ideas off of because everyone on the team's pretty much won a national championship. Mm-hmm. So they're all really good at what they do, just being able to bounce ideas off each other and training together and seeing how everyone trains. And yeah, I've seen a lot of improvement in my game.
Good. Well, so what's one area that you're going to be working on like this afternoon when you go out to the range? What are you going to be doing?
Yeah, so I already talked to Dan, and we're going to do positional rifle work. So we're going to off barricades, and we have like a 150-yard bay with just a bunch of random stuff on it. And we just try to find the most uncomfortable position possible and just shoot at some like skinny Sammys, like 100 or 150, and just try to work on just the fundamentals and building positions and stuff like that.
Nice. That makes sense because Rocky Mountain three gun is known for its awkward positions. Like, oh, hey, here's this stick. Shoot from the stick.
Yeah, and you'll shoot like 600 yards off that little raggedy stick too.
Yeah. Yeah. I was watching one stage the last time I was there, and there's this like downhill slope, and then like a big log in the middle, and then targets out, like you said, to 500, 600 yards. And so, guys are like looking in the walkthrough and not even getting down, but they're like, I'm going to go rest on that big log right there because that's nice and stable and everything. And then so now they're lying downhill with a log uphill, and so they're basically like bending their body in a V and trying to shoot, and lying on rocks and cactus and things like that. I'm like, yeah, okay, that looks a little tough.
Yeah, stuff like that. I always try to lay down and see what is, because like that's not going to be comfortable if you're like breaking your back trying to see the target. So trying to find a way that's somewhat comfortable or as comfortable as it can be.
Nice. Well, Nate, it's great to catch up with you again. Happy for you for the success you've achieved here in getting in the AMU, and wishing you best of success in the future. We'll catch up with you on all those different national titles you're going to get in every division as the years progress here. And man, I appreciate you being here, and thanks for being on the Three Gun Show again.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Dave. It was fun.
Hey, before you take off, check out the show notes at threegunshow.com/episode 220 for links to things that we discussed in the podcast, as well as the replay of Nate and I chatting live on YouTube. This podcast is brought to you by Armalite. The original Armalite rifles put the AR in AR-15. The rifles themselves come with 1 8 twist barrels, match barrels, 18-inch or 13.5-inch with a 15-inch or 12.5-inch handguard, Timney trigger, Luth AR stock, adjustable gas system, tunable comp, a patented tunable comp. This thing's ready to go right out of the box for a 3-gun with no additional modifications other than putting on a nice optic. I myself use a Vortex Viper PST 1-6 when I'm shooting Tac-Ops or their Spitfire when I'm shooting limited. Check them out at armalite.com. Quick reminder that if you enjoyed this episode of the podcast, subscribe in iTunes, Google Play, Podcast Addict, or wherever you get your podcast content, so you will always get the very latest. Thank you so much for downloading, listening, and subscribing to the show. I'm Dave Hartman, and I'll see you on the range.
If you are finished, unload, show clear.